Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Ronaldo Brown. How are we doing, mate? You okay?
Doing all right, innit? I've heard, basically, you did an interview yesterday without me, so I've got the boot.
I wanted to do it together, but you couldn't get here in time. Basically, we interviewed Florian Plettenberg from the German site Sport 1. He's a Bayern Munich expert. He covers Bayern Munich. He was over in Lisbon for the Champions League final. He's been talking to some of the squad. And because United have had that link with the likes of Kingsley Coman that we've spoken about, rumours of David Alaba even coming to see at Old Trafford, and looking back as well, Alphonso Davies was a player we were interested in when he was younger. We thought he'd be a good person to speak to. So I had a chat with him, and that'll be coming up a little bit later. We'll show you what he had to say about those Manchester United links, whether any of them are likely. In the meantime, you've been looking at the Tier 1 journalists and what they've been talking about, and there's not a lot of United news, is there, from the Tier 1 transfer journalists? But what have they been talking about?
There's none at all. Obviously, I mentioned last time, but because of, I don't know if it was copyright or something, etc. We couldn't get a meme up that summed up perfectly, saying, literally the rest of the top sides are looking like they're trying to be proactive in the transfer market, and United still look a bit sedentary in it, a little bit standstill, not much news. I think after the Sancho thing, it seems as though it's officially died out, that we don't have any replacements or look to have any strong links to anyone, which is kind of worrying. It's just all the Tier 1 news has literally been the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, and even City kind of making moves or just inquiring. We're not even making inquiries.
No,
as of now,
it does seem a little bit quiet, and we'll have a little bit more. I spoke to Florian Plettenberg about Sancho because obviously he's over in Germany and just what his thoughts on that, and how Bayern Munich's success could affect Dortmund's sort of thinking around Sancho. In terms of some of the ones you've been looking at Arsenal. You mentioned Arsenal have been making moves. I mean, it's bad times when Arsenal are stealing a match in the transfer market. What's been said about them?
Obviously, we've got Mohamed Boufazi on Twitter, which is a bit of an interesting one. You usually have to Google Translate. This guy does all his stuff in French.
I like that.
I feel like he
makes you work for your...
Makes you work for it. But he was a bit cleverer this time. He thought, I'm going to put it on English so that we can actually understand what he's saying.
Right.
And he literally said that Gabriel to Arsenal is a done deal. This was at some point yesterday. Total agreement between the two clubs for €30 million. And the defender chose Arsenal ahead of Napoli and Everton with a medical looking to be today.
Yeah.
Which is you know what's interesting about that?
Go on.
Is the fact that we seemingly saw that there was a link with Gabriel and United.
It's like last minute, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It seemed, I think it was...
What did you about that?
Yeah, I mean, Romano tweeted that there'd been an inquiry, but nothing solid. I think there was. It was sort of left it late, I think was what he said. Interesting there, you mentioned Mohamed Boufazi said that Napoli, he chose Arsenal ahead of Napoli.
Boufazi. I think I say Boufazi.
Yeah.
I'm always messing up this guy's
Listen,
surname.
I can't say anything about pronunciation. I'm terrible. We apologise, Mohamed, if you're watching. Now, the Napoli interest was complicated because I think Napoli were waiting to see if City were going to get Koulibaly. City and Napoli have a bit of a problematic relationship because Napoli did the dirty on City when they sold Jorginho to Chelsea because originally he was going to go to the Etihad, but when Chelsea wanted Sarri and Jorginho, Napoli went for that deal instead. So that's complicated it. And in the meantime, Arsenal have just got the deal done. Good player. We've been linked with him slightly, haven't we? We've spoken about him a couple of times. Defender, obviously, good on the ball, highly rated, young defender.
They're addressing needs, isn't it? Arsenal are addressing needs. Obviously, they're very frail. Arsenal over the years have been known to be very spineless. Just a bit on the soft side. When I watch Arsenal, they always look as though they can get turned over as soon as momentum swings against them. They don't respond well to adversity. They've got a little bit tougher in recent times, but I don't ever trust Arsenal in terms of when the going gets tough. And they've always defensively
get going.
Or when the tough gets going. You can do both. You can say both.
No, it's the song. You won't know it. It's well before your time. I shouldn't have even said that. It's probably well before you were born. In terms of Arsenal, they've got Willian. They've got Gabriel Magalhaes. Do you worry about them as
what's his name? Sarabia?
Yeah. So they're doing bits in the transfer market.
So you know what?
Do you worry about them that they could up their game because they were well out of the top four last time? I think they finished 8th. Yeah. Do you think that they could be a contender now for it, and they're someone we've got to look at?
Well, they had a strong end to the season.
Yeah.
So it depends if they keep the momentum going, and obviously making marquee additions or important additions to areas of need. can only be good. But obviously, we're not seeing these players play yet, so it's just all a bit of foresight at the moment, really. For all we know, it could be a flop, and we know how difficult it is sometimes to adjust to the Premier League. So we'll have to see. But it's just one of them where we're looking at clubs around us and they're kind of making additions, making moves, and then we're just kind of in a standstill. Because right as of now, I'd say United probably are ahead of Arsenal in terms of first team, like first 11.
Oh, easily.
Easily. So, but it's about whether the teams like Arsenal behind you are catching up, and whereas you're staying, kind of resting on your laurels and not making that move up again. So that's the only issue. I know the season's fast approaching, so we'll have to see how it turns out. But we do definitely need one or two people to come in, especially when other clubs around us who are competing for the same things that we're competing for are making moves.
We're stationary at the minute. We're not moving anywhere. The main man, Fabrizio Romano, he's been talking about Chelsea. What's he been saying?
Well, the recent one, obviously, we'll get to the kind of main people that Chelsea have been signing, because who have Chelsea not been trying to sign?
They've gone berserk.
They've gone berserk.
In the transfer market, honestly, this window.
Yeah, he stated that Malang Sarr has been offered to Chelsea, as reported by Telefoot. It's not a done deal. Chelsea are considering him as another free agent opportunity after Thiago Silva, which is another done deal. Sarr would like to join, but he has also other bids. The board will decide with Lampard, so this one's a bit in the midst. But Malang Sarr on a free. Chelsea's another one, kind of defensively. That's where they need.
I mean, I'm losing track here of who they've been buying. They're linked with Chilwell, aren't they? That looks like it's going to happen any day soon. Yeah. Thiago Silva on a free. Malang Sarr, you just mentioned. Ziyech, Werner, and Kai Havertz looks like they're going to break the bank, or that's pretty much a done deal.
Jesus Christ!
I mean, is it 200 million? I think they've spent so far this transfer window.
It's looking like.
I mean, they're making up for that transfer ban, aren't they? I
was going to say, is Corona not affecting Chelsea?
Like Abramovich has found his wallet again, hasn't he? Down the back of the sofa and thought, right, let's just go for it.
Oil.
Yeah, mate. So Chelsea going big in this transfer window. Arsenal doing bits, and obviously all the main men. Another one, Romano the Havertz one. What's he been saying about Havertz? How does that deal break down?
He's basically said that Kai Havertz to Chelsea one step away. He put the iconic 3 words, here we go.
We've not heard that for a while, about United.
The other iconic 3 words, like, comment, subscribe, but I'll get to that at the end. But total agreement to be reached on the next hours with Bayer Leverkusen. Last bid is going to be accepted. It's looking to be €80 million with 20 million add-ons as a final fee. The last details and paperwork are in the midst.
Yeah, so by the time this goes out, that's probably this done deal, basically. Kai Havertz, Chelsea. Yeah. He was just sort of Romano there explaining how it's been done. They've seemed to have brought that deal down to around 100 millions with add-ons and stuff. And what United were trying to do with Sancho, I think, that couldn't
a bit more difficult.
Yeah, couldn't make that happen. You rate Havertz, don't you?
Yeah, right. I mean, he's versatile as well. He's played a few games. I was speaking with Casey one time. He's played a few games up front as well. He can play in the 10. He can also play on the right wing. So he brings that kind of forward fluidity that you see in the modern attackers now. And they could look like a dangerous outfit. I kind of said when I put a tweet out saying that Chelsea might win game 7-5 next season, because I know they defensively weren't very good, but they look like they're going to have quite a potent attack with the likes of, obviously, Pulisic, Werner, Ziyech, Havertz. We've still got Giroud there.
Still bangs him in, doesn't he, Giroud? You dismiss him, but he does get his goals.
Players.
Yeah, he does. He's a player that some other players like to play around as well, don't he? He's very sort of selfless at times. We spoke to, as I said earlier, to Florian Plettenberg from Sports 1 over in Germany, and we spoke to him as well about I did, because you could make this one. I spoke to him about Chelsea, about the players they've signed from the Bundesliga, and obviously about Bayern Munich. He covers Bayern Munich and about some of the players from Bayern Munich that Manchester United have been linked with, and here's what he had to say. Florian, thanks for joining us. You've been covering Bayern Munich. Are you still in Lisbon? Have you been with the team for the Champions League final?
Hi, first of all, nice to hear you. I'm still in Lisbon. Yes, we have had 10 or 12 very intensive days. And I have reported about Bayern Munich every day. So it has been amazing days, but it was very intensive, but very successful in the end. And it was an amazing time.
obviously, Kingsley Coman got the winner against Paris Saint-Germain. He's a player that's actually been linked to Manchester United. Do you see him leaving Bayern Munich anytime soon?
Honestly, I don't think that he will leave Bayern Munich. He's a very important player in the system of Hansi Flick. And I know from the coach that he has got a very positive opinion about the player, not only because of his goal last evening, just because of his development. He's a player with a big quality. He's a high tempo. He's a high speed. He is very good in a one-to-one situation. So it's very important for the gameplay of Bayern Munich, because they need players with these capabilities on the wings. And what Coman has to improve is his effectiveness. Sometimes he's very ineffective, especially right in front of the goal. That's why the last evening has been very important for his own development and for the next season, because he has a lot of competitors next year. And I know that Hansi Flick is planning with Leroy Sané on the left side, so the side of Kingsley Coman. But I don't really think that Coman will leave Bayern Munich. He has a long-term contract, I think, until 2023, and he's a very important player in the plans of Hansi Flick.
You say you don't think he will leave. If he were to leave and go to the Premier League, do you think he's the type of player that could be a success in the Premier League?
Very difficult to say. I think he has attitudes and qualities who are very good for the Premier League. I see the Premier League very, very often, and I think that he can help a lot of teams, especially Manchester United. But I can also imagine him maybe in a team like Chelsea, where you need a lot of space in the offensive lines. I don't think that he's a player for maybe Manchester City, who are very focused on the ball possession. I think he's a player who needs open sources, open rooms, and this is what he likes. And this is what makes him very strong.
United have also been linked with David Alaba. That move, again, it seems unlikely. Do you see him leaving Bayern Munich anytime soon?
Well, first of all, he's the hottest topic right now in Munich. We are reporting every day about the new development in his contract negotiations. Maybe, as you know, he has a new agent with Pini Zahavi, who is a very good link to Spain. To my opinion, to my information, the Premier League is not the A topic or not the aim target, the highest target for Alaba. I think that he will extend his contract in Munich maybe until 2024 or 2025, because he has grown up at Bayern Munich. He wants to extend, the club wants to extend, and I think if he would leave Bayern Munich, I think he would prefer a change to Real Madrid or to Barcelona, and not to the Premier League.
Disappointing, this news, to be honest, but that's where we are. Not the news we want to hear, but it's the news that's the truth. In terms of Thiago, where do you think he's going to go this summer? Do you think he's going to come to the Premier League? Is he a player that he's been linked with Liverpool? He was linked with Manchester United many years ago before he went to Bayern Munich. Where do you think he's going to end up?
Well, the Thiago topic is very difficult. He told the bosses that he wants to leave the club. They have been at the status that he wanted to extend his contract until 2023 or 2024, because the club says, okay, you are very important for the future. But then he changed his mind. And to my information, he's in very deep talks with Liverpool, as you said. Now we also could have read that Arsenal should be interested in him. I can imagine that if he leaves Bayern Munich, that he will go to Liverpool. If you ask me what's my opinion about that transfer, I was wondering about the interest of Liverpool, because I don't see him in that system. And I had the opinion that they're very talented, that they have got players in the central midfield. But maybe if they sell Keita, maybe they have space for Thiago. But yeah, once again, I don't think that he's maybe he could be interesting for Manchester United, maybe, but we have never heard something about the interest of Manchester United here in Munich.
You think then he's a player that if Manchester United tried to sign him, he'd be open to that idea?
That Manchester United has a very big name in Europe, especially in Germany. As you all know, we have a black history with Manchester United from the year 1999. We all know that Manchester United is a very big club and that they have money. And money is in Corona times a very important issue. And I think that every player who wants to go to the Premier League is interested in an interest of a club like Manchester United. But it's more interesting to see from the German point of view what happens right now in Chelsea. Maybe if we see that players like Havertz, like Timo Werner goes to this club. This is a very big topic here in Germany. And yeah, this is something like where I was wondering that Manchester United, didn't intense their interest in a player like Havertz, but Thiago should be also a topic for a club like Manchester.
Can I just ask you about that? You mentioned the fact that Chelsea have obviously bought players from the Bundesliga. What have you made of that? Have you been impressed with the signings that Chelsea have made?
Absolutely, I'm totally impressed about the transfers of Chelsea. I have never expected that Timo Werner is going to Chelsea. I have never expected that they have a chance with Kai Havertz. But like I said, Corona times has changed so many things. And Kai Havertz has been on the list of Bayern Munich. He was one of the highest transfer targets for the club. And I am sure that if we didn't have had these Corona times or these Corona developments, Bayern Munich would have done everything to buy Kai Havertz. But now, like I said, I have often linked to his management, to his agents, and they told me that the project of Chelsea, that is the main interesting thing for Havertz, for Werner, to build up something, to create something. And I think what Lampard has often told them in many phone calls, and this is something what had impressed them a lot. So this is why Havertz has decided that he only wants to go to Chelsea.
Fair enough. One player that's been spoken about a lot over the past few weeks is Alphonso Davies. He was a player that when he was a younger player, when he was a kid, he was scouted by Manchester United. What sort of a season has he had?
Honestly, answer, I also have never expected this development. I have been with Bayern Munich in the preseason in Doha, Qatar. I can remember very clearly when he arrived to Bayern Munich, and in the first training sessions, you could have seen that he is talented, that he's has a high speed on the pitch, but he was very, how can I say, he was very nervous. And if you have compared him with the other young players to Munich, there has been a high gap. But this season, this development was very positive for him. On the wings, I don't see him that strong as I see him now in the defense. And Niko Kovac, the former Bayern Munich player, he was one of the guys who had the idea to put him as a left winger in the defense. And that was a very good move. And he developed so strong. And you always have to say that for him, it was very important that he could have played there, because David Alaba, he need to go in the central defense. And that was very important for Davis. But his development is absolutely crazy. He's a fantastic player, and he's the future of Bayern Munich. This is what you have to say. And it was very important for him and for Bayern Munich that they have extended his contract a few months ago until 2025.
I just wanted to ask you one final question. Obviously, Bayern Munich have had a fantastic season, winning the treble, winning the Champions League. Manchester United have been sort of trying to sign or interested in Jadon Sancho. And do you think that the sort of the success that Bayern Munich have had would make Dortmund more determined to keep hold of someone like Sancho to try and challenge Bayern Munich this season?
Absolutely. But by the way, you can ask me whatever you want. Absolutely. If you look at the squad of Borussia Dortmund, they have the capability to buy and to find very, very talented players every year. If you see like a player like Haaland, like Sancho, these are all players who play in Dortmund and not in Munich. But Dortmund knows that Dortmund, for those players, honestly, it's just a step. It's a step for the next big club. And but if you become the step club, you cannot improve and you cannot fill the gap between Dortmund and Bayern Munich, and the gap is very, very big right now. And they need Jadon Sancho for their plans. They need him to improve. And if they would lose Sancho, that would be a high loss of quality. And it's a big symbol. It's a big sign of Dortmund that they say we don't sell him, but this player every team needs in his squad. And if you would have gone to Manchester United, that would be, to my opinion, a much more harder deal than Leroy Sané to Bayern Munich, because Sancho is, to my opinion, the future of the European football.
Well, it's not the news we wanted to hear, but I appreciate it. Florian, thanks for speaking to us. I appreciate that, and we'll speak to you again, and hopefully we'll have better news and we can get some of these players from Bayern Munich sooner rather than later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Florian. Thanks for speaking to us. So big thanks to Florian Plettenberg there over in Lisbon for chatting to us. Not the best news when he went through there. We're asking him. I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of these sort of transfer stories and rumours were just that. But I asked him about Kingsley Coman, the match winner against PSG, winning the Champions League. Doesn't get much better than that. Whether he sees him leaving because he had been linked with United, maybe as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. And he says he thinks Coman's not going anywhere. He says he'll fight for his place. It doesn't matter that Leroy Sané is coming in. He says he thinks there'll be competition for those places on the wing and he can stay there. So doesn't look like Coman's coming to Old Trafford. You make it that one. It's a bit disappointing because there seemed there might be something in it, and then it's like, no, not really.
Yeah, I think Coman would have been suited to kind of United front, like forward line dynamic, but it just never seemed like something that was going to happen, because when I heard about the interest with Coman, I started looking at him playing for Bayern, and he was very much in the mix. I know he got Sané, but it wasn't like he was kind of being frozen out or he's on the bench and he's barely getting any minutes. If he was on the bench, he definitely always came on. He looked effective. I tweeted out saying that after looking at Coman, watching him closely because I knew that United were interested, he looks very sharp. Looks like he's got a bit of quality. We know the amount of things that he's won. Like he's won like an incredible amount of silverware for someone so young. I've seen that. But it just never looked like it was going to happen. He's starting in the Champions League final for Bayern, and Bayern are definitely the best team in the world right now. I don't see how they would have let Coman go out on loan. Someone of that quality.
Yeah, either a loan or even a permanent transfer. It doesn't look like it's happening. Hansi Flick was full of praise for him, as you'd expect, and says, we know what he's capable of, sort of thing, and we want to see him do more of it. So that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Another one that, again, it sort of came from nowhere, didn't it, David Alaba to United. And everyone got excited because he's such a good player, and it's like, I don't really see this happening, but if it did, it would be amazing. I think there's been contract sort of issues there as to whether he was going to stay. I spoke to Florian, and he was like pretty clear that he doesn't see David Alaba going anywhere. Bayern Munich love him, that sort of thing. So, that's almost dead in the water, that one, isn't it? It doesn't look like it's happening.
I feel like all United fans knew that Alaba was just posturing for a better deal, weren't he?
I didn't see many United fans going, we're going to get him.
I saw United fans just saying that Alaba was just using United, or his representatives were using United to kind of posture for a better deal, like Ramos did years ago.
Remember that? I almost forgot about that. Yeah, remember that. Like there was 2 weeks when we thought we were getting him.
It's because he's had a bit of a contract dispute, but it's one of them where we'll throw United's name in there, and then Bayern will be like, we'll give you more. So that's
because United have that reputation as going with daft contracts. It usually works. For me, maybe the most frustrating part of that interview with what he was saying was the Thiago Alcantara comment, because Thiago was linked with United years ago under David Moyes when Fergie retired. It looked like he was destined to come. For whatever reason, he didn't. Now he's sort of looks like he's going to go to the Scousers. Liverpool are going to get him for around 30 million euros. I think is the fee, which is a bargain. And Florian was saying there that Thiago would come to United. He said he'd actually probably favour that move. He could favour that move because the competition for places, he said, in Liverpool's midfield would be a bit tougher for his position. I'm not sure whether that's the case.
No,
but
I don't think so.
I think the one area where
said,
United are probably stronger than Liverpool,
midfield.
definitely, is midfield. You could argue the toss up front. But certainly in midfield, I'd take our midfield over theirs. But he was saying that he'd be open to a move to Old Trafford. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we're interested in him. I've not heard anything.
I've not heard any links, but
I don't know if you'd have him, wouldn't you?
I'd definitely have him. You just like we get into that situation now where any player's just been like, United. It's becoming so tedious. It's unbelievable. Like, just the amount of... Anytime there's a half-decent person in the transfer market, United's name just gets thrown in.
But I think with him, I don't even think with him it's necessarily been thrown in. I think with him, the case is, if we wanted him, we could maybe try and get him, but we just don't want him. They're interested with United and Thiago before he went to Bayern. Yeah, when he was, it was sort of 2013 when Fergie retired. He was going to be the signing. I remember blogging about it at the time of the blog, and it was just constant news about him, and there's pictures of him as a kid, and someone found a picture of him a kid with United top on, and you know what that's like. But there's different sort of reasons that have been given, different stories. Some say that David Moyes didn't fancy him. Some say that he changed his mind when he fancied Munich more. Yeah. We'll probably never know the true reason, but it's disappointing because I think he could have been a good player. He's certainly been a good player for Bayern Munich. He could have been a good player for us, and it looks like this time round we're not even trying to get him, which 30 million euros. I mean,
it's like it's not pennies.
Is that not a bargain?
I don't know if it's because he's getting up there in age. I don't know how old he is. I think he's around.
He's only. I think he's not. He's not that old. He's still got some.
He's got a couple
years
of years
left
in him. It's mad that Bayern would be willing to let him go for that kind of money, because with the level of calibre of player that he is, and if he did go to Liverpool.
I think he's coming towards the end of his time there, and that's the reason he's there. And I mean, Liverpool, they've got Naby Keita, they've got Fabinho, they've got Jordan Henderson. Yeah. I mean, it's not a weak midfield. So
it's just the weakest part of their team.
And you know, Florian was like, well, he might look at it, if they sold Naby Keita, which I don't see happening, then he could get in the team. I don't know, but you look at it and you think he could come into United, he could get into the team, and he could do a job for us for the next few years. So it is a little bit frustrating that we've not even asked the question there. And he's one of the few players that we've not been linked with, and probably the one that maybe we should be. I also asked him about Alphonso Davies, who was scouted by United as a kid when he was in Canada. He's obviously had a great season. He was full of praise of it for him. He said that he's had a bit of a position change and he's flourished. Yeah. He's almost. I mean, it's difficult because United look at so many kids, but it's a bit of a shame because you would have liked to have seen him at Old Trafford, I'm guessing.
I don't know. It's just one of those after the fact kind of, we scouted him. It doesn't mean anything. It's not. It's one of those. I'm guessing when you're the calibre player that Alphonso Davies was playing in the MLS at 15 and so on, I don't think United would have been the only other club.
No, I think he did have. I think you're right. He had offers.
It's he's gone to Bayern, and he obviously was either a right winger or a left winger.
I think they moved him around a little bit, and he's found his feet there now.
And he found himself playing left back because I think it was a left back injury or something along them lines, and then he just completely took that role over, and then he's dominated it for 10 months now, and he looks like a bit of a machine. I don't know. Someone transitions so well from winger to fullback.
It's not easy, that is it? It's not. People sort of assume that
it's
not, and I don't. Yeah, and it is, and it's one of those where you look at and you go, it would have been great, but like you said, so many kids at that age, other clubs interested in him, and he didn't fancy it. So it's one of those. Finally, just on the Plettenberg interview, I had to ask him about Jadon Sancho. I know he covers Munich, but if you bear with me, it is linked because Munich have obviously won the treble. They've won the Champions League. Yeah. Dortmund are looking on with a little bit of green-eyed envy, and they're sort of determined to try and catch Bayern Munich, and they know that Jadon Sancho could be a big part of that. And he said that Jadon Sancho could play a massive part for Dortmund this season, so he doesn't seem going anywhere. I mean, we spoke to various journalists about it, and it seems to have become less and less likely now, doesn't it, that Jadon Sancho's coming to United. Are you at a point now where you think it's time to move on, or do you still think there's hope?
I think if there's any hope, it's minimal. And that's a good point, though. If Dortmund are looking at Bayern thinking they're just basically running world football now, and they're their nearest rivals, and they need to catch up. If they let Sancho go, then it only widens the gap.
100%.
So you can see that they'd be very hesitant to sell him, especially if they don't have an obvious replacement. And obviously he's contracted till 2023. There's no pressure on Dortmund to sell.
They could get 100 million from him next year and get a season out of him where he
100%.
helps them.
If he
Challenge.
doesn't fall off, 100%.
Yeah. So there's no, like you say,
I don't know. I think it's gone extremely cold, freezer cold.
freezer cold on the Sancho deal. Pains me to say it, but I have to agree with that, Ronaldo. I think it has gone freezer cold. This has been the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast. Thanks again to Florian Plettenberg from Sport 1 for joining us. I've been Jay. That's been Ronaldo. Don't forget to hit, what's the 3 magic words?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. And hopefully we'll hear those other 3 magic words from Fabrizio Romano soon about Manchester United. Yeah, here we go, hopefully. This has been the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast. Thanks for watching.